This
Okay.
conference will now be recorded.
Hey, good morning, everyone. We're going to do a quick introductions. This is an online council meeting again due to the pandemic. So with us today, we have Councillor Janine Boulanger,
Morning, everybody.
Councillor Curtis Clayton,
Morning, all.
Councillor Ron Mamchuk.
Good morning, everybody.
We have our CEO, Mitch Duval, with us today.
Good morning.
And we have myself, Chris Yu, and the mayor. We're going to get this started. Shane Pelletier, the councillor for Early Shane, will not be with us today. I will open the agenda here. I'll call the meeting to order. Do I have a mover?
Ron Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Janine Boulanger.
Councillor Clayton.
Councillor Boulanger moves, seconds it. Any discussion?
Not here.
I'll call for the question. We'll be voting online, back to online voting. Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. I'll open the meeting at 9:02 a.m. And just a note again there, Councillor Pelletier will not be with us today. Adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk.
Clayton.
Councillor Clayton moves it. Councillor Mamchuk seconds it.
Nothing to add to the agenda.
Nothing to add. Any questions or comments?
Fine here.
Thank you. Okay, call for the vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Boulanger.
Mamchuk.
Councillor Boulanger moves it. Councillor Mamchuk seconds it.
Does Ron know his camera's off?
Yes, I did put the camera off.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Go ahead,
I don't
Mr.
think you have to look at me.
Okay, we have 3 sets of meeting minutes to be adopted. The first one is regarding September 9th. That was a special meeting of council to hear a bunch of appeals to some bylaw summons that our bylaw officer had issued out. On September 16th, that was the regular council meeting, at which point we had a few variations, conditional uses, a subdivision, as well in the community of Old Shane, as well. Council passed a motion to proceed with the Taché Reach-Out boundary alignment study. So we'll be, I believe, meeting at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning to start just discussions between the CAOs and the consultants from Scatcliff Murray. And as well, there was a special meeting of on September 22nd regarding C-19 2020. That was a continuation from the September 16th meeting regarding a conditional use in the Grand Point area.
Thank you. Any questions or discussions on these?
Not here.
Okay, I'll call for the question. Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 4, committee reports and minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
The reports have been submitted by council. We also had some committee meetings regarding the Landfill and Utilities Committee of October 1st. We also had the Emergency Services Committee on October 1st, and Mayor Ewan presented his report on the WMR, John Q, Community Futures, Southeast Commerce Group, and the Reach-Out CDC.
Any questions or comments from council?
No, I was going to submit my report. Just want to quickly mention the Crow Wing Trail had the ribbon cutting for the bridge over the Joubert Creek in St. Pierre yesterday. I attended and I've got a bunch of photos. Minister Squires was there, Mr. Smook was there. There was a bunch of dignitaries and it was well attended, well COVID spaced and it's a great accomplishment for the Curling Trail.
Awesome.
Good job, Janine.
Yeah, thank you for going. I appreciate that.
It was a good day.
Is that your official report, or will you have something in writing
No.
for the?
I'll have something in writing, and I'll add photos and stuff too for next meeting. I apologize, it was yesterday and I just didn't get around to doing it last night.
No problem. Thank you very much.
We'll forgive you this time.
Yeah.
Okay, council, please cast your vote.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on here. I'm getting there. Hang on. What's going on here?
We need the Jeopardy
Item
song
four,
playing in the
Councillor
background.
Mamchuk. The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 5.1, accounts paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Belanger,
Second?
Councillor
Councilor
Mamchuk.
Clayton?
Councilor Mamchuk seconds it.
All right, we have two batches, one totaling 75,725. The gist of that is for MEB and paid to the Receiver General, Visa of $5,000. The other batch is 27,864, basically payment to GNR Garbage. Nothing else to report on that matter.
Any comments or questions from council?
Fine here.
Okay, cast your vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 5.2, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councilor Clayton?
Second by Councilor Clayton. Thank you.
Two batches. The first one is just a utility refund. The second batch is the big one, $474,730. Went through this yesterday, and our CFO, Thomas Thompson, also provided a summary of the expenses. Some operating grants that were paid out for the communities out there. Mterra also is a winner here because I did send them a reminder email to please not do this again. What they're doing is we're getting invoices for February, March, April, July, and August. So it's just I don't know what they're doing as their accounts receivable side of things, but I let them know, please be a little bit more timely on your billings. But the billings themselves are okay. There's nothing to worry about there. As we go through it, there's not much more to think about. There's some pathways, and Mike and Nicole has provided a breakdown for those, as well as fire department bought some jaws of life. So that's all in the CFO's report. If there's anything specific, please let me know. I did not get any emails from council for other questions.
Any questions or comments from council?
Fine
just
here.
a observation. I see there's a bunch of animal control entries, so boarding kennel and those kind of things. So obviously now we have animal control, or have we always had it? I just didn't think we had that, and the setup for that.
No, we just started the setup for that. So it's a fellow out of the Morris area. Very good. If you remember the delegation from that fellow from St. Adolphe, he had no issues with the animal control officer, very friendly, very diplomatic in his proceedings. So we've had him for maybe, time flies, maybe 3 months now.
Okay.
So, and whenever we do get some dog complaints, judgment call at the office if we send them out for a drive-by to take a look. It's hard sometimes to capture a dog that's running at large, but we give them a couple hours and then mileage. So that's what those bills would be for.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Glad we have something in place.
Any other comments?
Not here.
Fine here.
Okay, cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to 5.3, council indemnities. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Second.
Councillor
Councilor
Belanger.
Clayton.
Councillor, sorry, Councillor Clayton moves it.
Oh, Councillor Clayton. Okay, fine. There you go. So council has that in front of them as to the hours for the month of September. I have nothing to report on here.
Any questions or comments from council? It was a busy month for myself. It looked like you guys had some more meetings. It's picking up a little bit.
We'll
Little
catch
bit,
up
yeah.
from August, yeah.
Good. Good. Okay, I'll get you to cast your vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you very much. 5.4, payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor-
Belanger.
Counselor
Second.
Mamchuk,
Thank you. Second by Mamchuk.
So we have payrolls 19 and 20, as well as the quarterly third quarter for the fire departments. Went through the timesheets. There's a little bit of overtime for one employee, but she was present at a market booth for the RM. So that accounts for the extra bank time that they have. Other than that, there's typical construction overtime and stuff like that. So it's within reason.
Perfect. Any questions or comments from council?
fine here.
Okay, cast your vote.
I must say that market was a good success that Sunday. Just
It
too
was
bad the weather didn't cooperate.
unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievably busy.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Okay, 6.1 bylaw 8, 2020 fiber optics loan, second reading. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Thank you. Second.
Councilor Clayton.
Thank you.
Okay, nothing has changed from first reading. Basically, the loan is for $250,000 to John Q regarding fiber optic. There was a WMR meeting last night regarding the progress and the project. So right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, the John Q Connect is still not quite incorporated. So they will move ahead and get that done. The funds that are all being advanced by the municipalities are going to sit in trust with legal until that is up and running. And then those funds will then be dispersed. They were talking about bookkeeping and who's going to keep track of that as well at last night's meeting. And time frame, nothing to report right now, but the board is working on that, and hopefully they could get a more concrete time schedule shortly within, I think the chairman there was saying 2 weeks. So hopefully within 2 weeks we'll have a good construction timeline.
Bang. Yeah, exactly that. It's looking better and better each day. So it's just patience is a virtue in this game, as we all know. Any other comments?
no, fine here.
Okay, please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 6.2 bylaw 8, 2020 fiber optic zone, third reading. Do I have a mover?
Counselor
Counselor
Mamchuk,
Clayton.
Thank you. Councillor Clayton seconds it.
Second verse, same as the first, third reading, no changes.
Any other final comments, discussion?
No, good here.
Okay, cast your vote.
Councillor Mamchuk, we are on 6.3 in case you're having issues.
I thought I did vote. I'll try it again. Sorry.
6.3.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
6.2.
6.2. Sorry, yes, my fault.
It's okay. You get it now? Because I just got kicked out there for a second. You get it now?
The vote is carried 4-0. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much. 6.3 bylaw 10, 2020 code of conduct for council members, first reading. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Second.
Councillor Blanger.
Thank you.
All righty, where do I begin? This is very interesting. I think well due over time. I know that the province has been working hard trying to get a few things resolved. Unlike the Reedshot family, we are one big happy family. Unfortunately, sometimes there are some disagreements and some issues on council. So therefore, the province kind of stepped up their legislation a little bit. Before, back in 2012, they had what was called the Code of Conduct for Council, and basically just the ability to censure a member of council. And basically censuring just meant, my opinion, it was almost like almost a little slap on the fingers. So now they've dove in more into the guts of it all. And the province came up with a template bylaw that the RMs could customize for their needs. And I know that within the discussions of the CAOs, the template was very good. But most of us also added the portion whereby if there's issues that the CEO sees with council members, that there's a way of reporting that back to council. So the province, the legislation, every municipality needs to have a code of conduct bylaw in place by November 1st. So we are giving first reading right now, and then second reading will be at the second meeting in October, second and third reading. So we will meet those timeframes. It took a while for the province to come out with a template, so therefore we couldn't really move ahead with things. There's a few things still missing as far as some forms. And the forms I'm not including in the bylaw because, of course, if the forms change, we have to do a bylaw amendment. So the bylaw will be what it is. The forms are going to be separate, and we'll be able to change those as needed as we go forward in the progress. Also, once the bylaw is adopted, I believe council has till May of 2021 to take an online code of conduct course or seminar. More details will come about that. So that's all I could provide you for now. The bylaw is very specific as to steps to be taken and the possible actions that could be taken if a member of council is not abiding by the code of conduct. And there's also an appeal process on behalf of the guilty person. So.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I'd just like to reiterate too, you're absolutely right. The Reedshot Council is nothing but peaceful and tranquil, especially when it's just the four of us. Shot at Shane. No, all joking aside, though, I think it's a great opportunity to kind of check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. There's no other way to put it. So, any discussion from council?
No, this looks
No.
good. I mean, I think it's good to have a framework in place.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
Get you to cast your votes.
What the hell?
No, Ron, you're okay. Councilor
I'm okay.
Manchuk. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
That
you.
vote is carried 4-0 as well.
Thank you. 6.4 bylaw 11/2020 reduced speed school zones first reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk?
Councillor Clayton?
Second by Councillor Clayton. Thank you.
This is a request from Councillor Pelche regarding, and I'm gonna have to pull my maps here for a second. One of the two schools in Ile-des-Chênes, and it's regarding Dotay Street. No, sorry, which one are we on here?
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, reduced school zones, okay. Yeah, so this is on Dotay Street, and it is for École Ile-des-Chênes. So we do have the reduced speed zones for École Gabriel Roy on Lamoureux. We also have a reduced speed zone on Zumen, which protects that corridor between the two schools. So Councillor Pelche is requesting that we also put a reduced speed zone on Dotay. The speed zone will start at 30 meters to the north of the property, of the property line, I should say, and run south all the way down to 30 meters past the property line, which brings you basically up to the corner of Zumen Road. The reason why I chose the 30 meters is because we have the same principle for École Gabriel Roy on Lamoureux. Public Works took a look at this and they're good to go with this as well. So we'll need to do 3 readings, but we'll do the first one today.
I'm just going to bring this up, and maybe I shouldn't, but was there consideration, and the reason why not probably is the answer I want publicly, St. Adolphe School?
Yep. That discussion was already held quite a few times because the school is not directly on the street and away set back the way it is. There's no possibility of getting a school zone reduction on there.
I just wanted that for public record. Thank you, Mr. C.
Mr. CEO and Mr. Mayor, I did have a contact by a person asking how come we don't have a 30-kilometer zone. And I don't know if I answered the question correctly because I said it's up to the school board. It's up to the school.
It's up to the municipalities. If the school board would make the request, we would then contemplate it. Because it's also a PR road, we would have to get that extra.
That's right. Okay, so I did answer it fine.
Yeah, the extra level of bureaucracy as well.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I see that whole St. Agatha is in here as well. We're just reaffirming what's already in place with the school zone.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't want to create another bylaw and have 2 in place, one for Dotay and the rest. So what I'm doing is putting Dotay in with the whole thing, and we're going to cancel the old bylaw once this one comes into play.
Makes sense. Okay.
Okay, cast your vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 6.5 bylaw 12/2020 speed limits within the municipality, first reading. Do I have a mover?
Councilor Mamchuk?
Second.
Oh, wait. Councillor
Sorry,
Blanchet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as a result of taking over Old 59 in the community of Ile-des-Chênes and taking over PR 300, I think it was, for Helena and
Yep.
also Burnett back on July 30th of 2020. Those roads are now municipally owned, so therefore we could set our own speed zones on there. So the proposal and in discussions with the local councilors for the community of Ile-des-Chênes, we are looking at a speed zone of 60 kilometers an hour, just starting south to where those multifamily condos are, and heading north up to, I believe, North Link Road. So that will be a 60 zone. Everything else would then be considered a 90 zone outside of that realm. For the community of Grand Point, we have two roads. We have Halima Drive, and that one was a 60, but because it's now a municipal road, we still have to include it in our bylaws, so that will remain a 60 all the way through. The other road is Burnett Road. So the councillor Belanger wanted to have the northern portion from Oak Grove Road up to Carrier designated as a 60 zone. Goes hand in hand with the pedestrian corridor that's there with the park, et cetera, et cetera. But to the south, that south of Oak Grove Road up to Mondor, which just got paved last month for the housing development down further south, that will remain an 80 until further notice.
Any comments or questions from council? I think these look great. If that's what the councilors believe, I support them 100%.
Fine from here.
Yeah, looks good.
Same here.
Okay.
But I bought a fast car, so I like speed, but that's irrelevant.
Can I just make a comment about Howden, Red River Drive? I should have looked this up, but is that 80-60 zone, is that past the Howden Community Center? Is that where it switches, or did we not change that?
We did not change anything for Halima Howden, so I'm just going to call up the map here. So on Red River Drive, there is a 80 zone up to close to Marchand. Marchand south actually kicks into the 60 zone. So if you look at map 4 and the coloring, we have
Yep.
yellow.
I just can't remember where the Howden Community Center is in relation to that, because I thought that's where we were going to change the zone.
I think you're close to where that yellow line is. We could confirm that. I'll double check that.
Okay,
And then I'll get back to you, Councillor Belanger, if that's okay.
sure, absolutely. Thank you.
Any other comments?
No, fine from here, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Please cast your vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on to 7.1.1, 4165-20-7934, Salco 66 two-family lots. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk.
Clayton.
Thank you. Councillor Clayton seconds it.
I need to catch up here, folks. My apologies. All right. Okay. So this is basically a continuation of C3 2020, whereby St. Adolphe Land Company came to council, made an application for a 66 units side by sides out on Harvest Lane, I believe. We do have a development agreement in place already approved by council. So this is basically the last step regarding creating the lots, the subdivision for this project. Once that's done, they'll be able to proceed ahead with the construction. There is no public hearing required for the subdivision because Harvest Lane was already created back in the past, so that's been dealt with. The conditional use had a public hearing, that's been dealt with. So basically, it's just approval of the 66 lot subdivision.
Perfect. Any comments or questions from council?
Do you know when they're going to start this project, or there's no time on it yet?
I think they're hoping to get going pretty soon. I do see that they're online right now, but they don't have any mic features on there.
Okay.
But I think the plan is that they'll be getting that infrastructure in for the Stellar project as well. So they're pretty antsy and ready to go.
Okay, thank you, Mr. CEO.
Okay.
Okay, please cast your vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on to 7.2.1, commencement of warranty period, Grand Point Meadows Phase 2. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Belanger,
Second.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councillor Clayton.
All right, this is phase 2 in Grand Point Meadows. The waterworks infrastructure are already in place as of June, I believe. And the road infrastructure is in and inspected as of September 3rd. So this begins the 1-year warranty period for documentation. Once the 1 year is up, they'll go back, take a look, make sure everything's on the up and up. And the letter of credit can then be released for those portions of the work done.
Any comments or questions from council?
Not from here.
project's coming along great.
Yes, very well.
I drove last Sunday, it looks fantastic.
Mhm.
Absolutely fantastic. So,
Good work, Janine.
Yeah, all that hard work I did.
Supervise them.
Okay, cast your vote.
the vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 7.2.2, drain tile application for Mark Lepke, 2373 East. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councillor Mamchuk moves it. Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
This was discussed at the Public Works Committee meeting regarding drain tiles application from Mark Lepke. This is basically giving approval on behalf of council. They still have to work with Manitoba Environment and Agriculture to ensure everything's done on the up and up. But as far as the municipality goes in Public Works, we have no issues with the proposal.
Any questions or comments from council?
Not here.
Would this be our first drain tile application in Richot?
No, I think there's one already, Janine.
Yeah.
Okay, because we've
There's a
been talking about it, but
Yeah, and I think Councillor Manchuk is correct. I know we've had one in the past. So I think this might be 2 or number 3.
okay.
Actually, I had a discussion with the watershed this morning regarding tile drainage. It seemed to die off right now. It was a big issue about 2 years
Yeah.
ago. It seemed to die down right now. So I don't know what the reason for that is. It's a very expensive investment.
Yeah, upfront costs, right?
Okay, I'll get council to cast their vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 7.2.3 Ile des Chenes Grand Point Lagoon. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Second.
Counselor Blanger.
Thank you.
Just for the record, it is a little bit deceiving in the title, and I do apologize for this. It is not the Ile des Chenes Grand Point Lagoon only. It is to do with water services and the project in St. Agatha as well. So basically the title should have read wastewater system upgrades. Because in the agreement with water services, it is a $300,000 cost sharing agreement whereby water services is putting 150, the RM will be putting 150 from the utility reserves. But the way the dollars are broken down is that there's let me get my numbers straight here. There's 200,000 that deals with the St. Agatha forest main. So basically 2/3 of the project is the St. Agatha lagoon system. And then $30,000 is regarding the Ile des Chenes lagoon study. And then there's also another $70,000 for engineering and contingencies for those two projects. So the bigger project is the St. Agatha lagoon. Not to undermine the importance of the Ile des Chenes lagoon, because we still need to look at options as to what we're going to be doing there regarding landfill and regarding the wastewater treatment facility if we're able to move ahead with that project as well. So there's a few moving parts to all of this, nothing set in stone. That's why we're doing the study and also putting projects ready in case there's a shovel-ready program announcement by the feds or the province that will have something ready to go for funding.
sounds good.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Any other comments or discussion from council?
Fine here, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Please cast your vote.
That is carried 4-0.
Thank you. You'll see correspondence and information for council to review. And going on to item 10, adjournment. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Thank you. Second.
Counselor Clayton.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Okay, call for the motion. Cast your vote.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I got it. I did get it. Thank you. The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. We'll close the meeting at 9:39 a.m. Have a good day, everyone. You can stop recording.